Well, two big surprises out of that round of 8 and into the round of 4. One is that Rodney Millen has been excluded, and the other is that the quickest time of the day has gone to Trevor Crow, 1:5:36, the fastest qualifier into the round of 4, then 1:6:08 to Malcolm Stewart, 1:6:16 to Kim Austin, that's a surprise as well with a big hybrid, and 1:6:24 for Neil Allport. Into the semi-final now. The first up is Malcolm Stewart in the Audi Quattro four-wheel drive, and one of the problems they've had with the four-wheel drive cars, the two of them here at this year's event, is that they've had to modify the starting system. It's normally a hockey stick that just gets depressed under the front wheel, but of course the front wheels are driving as well in the Audi, so we have a little wand stuck on the end. They modified the system last night, and as they go past, it triggers it. They saw the start triggered, but it didn't work on that occasion. Still a few teething problems. Red light for a false start, and Malcolm Stewart will have to come back again. They had some problems yesterday with the front wheels running over and, of course, driving, and they just skewed the hockey stick so that it wouldn't start and give a pulse.
So Malcolm Stewart has a problem reversing this car with the big oil cooler in the rear spoiler. Can't see a thing. He's looking in his mirrors here as he comes backwards. Yep.
I guess he'd have got some practice on the farm from backing tractors and trailers, wouldn't he?
That's right. Now here's another problem that's just cropped up. The clouds have gone up the top of the hill and the sun is out. We've seen on previous years that as you approach the top hairpin, the sun is right in the driver's eyes later in the afternoon.
And it's not always the same for everybody. Obviously, some cars are better suited to that problem than others. Tony Teasdale was explaining to us a while ago that the Nissan 240 RS has such a steep break on the windscreen that the glare doesn't become as much of a problem as it does in some of the other cars with a straight up and down windscreen. But when you get up to the top, approaching that hairpin, it is almost blinding. You virtually can't see a thing. And if somebody gets a run when there are clouds there and the next person gets a run with the sun, that is a distinct advantage.
Now that's a problem for Malcolm Stewart.
Well, we said at the start of this round that what it comes down to now is who responds to pressure. Now Malcolm Stewart has enough pressure on him in getting to grips with a new car. The pressure that becomes evident on drivers when they get down to the semi and quarterfinals is even more. He's lost over 2 seconds to the top. This may be the last run for Malcolm Stewart, who on paper was the favourite for the event. Certainly the car was the favourite.
So we're looking at a time, it has to be in the 1:06 seconds to be considered a qualifier for the final. No, certainly Malcolm Stewart will be out.
1:09:15, and I think we have at least 2 people of the 4 who can do better than that. Is it going to be Trevor Crow, Kim Austin, or Trevor Crow, Neil Allport, or Kim Austin, Neil Allport? Only 2 can go through to the final. Neil Allport now. Now here's a man who responds to pressure very well indeed, as does his co-driver Roger Freet. Dr. Roger Freet, the man of motorcycle racing frame, just won at Bathurst a little while ago. A very good co-driver as well, has co-driven on international events. And he has an uncanny ability to be able to tell a driver where he's losing and where he's gaining time.
Yes, that was a better start for Neil Allport. And the previous times he's actually bogged down a bit at the start. Got away cleanly that time.
And if there's any word that comes to mind when you talk about Neil Allport's driving, it is aggression. He has always been a very aggressive driver, PDA escorts particularly.
Neil's previous best time to the top of the hill was 40.83. So we'll be looking for a time of 40 to 41 seconds to put Neil through to the final.
Yes, he got out of it nicely too.
Yes, well, he's right on cue.
This comes down to around, what, 1.6, high 6s?
Somewhere in the 1.6s.
Just have a look at him downhill. Just have a look at how hard Neil Allport drives this car. He really has got this downhill piece down to a T. 1.6.31. So Neil Allport is in at this stage. It remains to be seen whether Trevor Crow or Kim Austin can put Neil Allport out.
Yes,
at the moment, Malcolm Stewart and Neil Allport are in, but only 2 have run.
Yes, Neil's not safe yet because both Trevor Crow and Kim Austin were faster than that time of 1:6.31 on their previous run. So they're both capable of doing it, as we've seen them do it already today here.
Really does come down to pressure, and I can remember when this fellow turned up as an unknown a couple of years ago, you were making comment about the cold blue eyes. He doesn't really fade under pressure, does he?
No, he seems to love the pressure.
Kim Austin from Waitakere.
Kim has been here before. He knows about the problem with the sun. Cleaning his sunglasses.
The Chevette with a 308 Holden in it. And automatic transmission. No problems with gear changes off the line. And once again, spraying the water out of the radiator.
That could be a head gasket that's blowing, pressurizing the water system.
Doesn't seem to be affecting his power too much. Kim Austin's split time was 41.57. And even with a time of 41.57, he got down in 1:7.51.
41.24.
Last round to get into here, he did 1:6.16. .1915 is the time to beat at this stage, and he's done it. Well, the water's not spraying out underneath now, it's spraying out upwards. Kim Austin has overdone it.
Yes, well, this is one of the problems of the pressure on these drivers. They're looking for every last tenth of a second.
He's one we didn't expect to make mistakes under pressure, but it just goes to show how much that pressure shows.
Yes, motorsport is a very unforgiving sport. If this were golf, you'd be able to put down another ball and have another shot, but I'm afraid that Kim Austin is out of the competition today.
All of which is good luck for Malcolm Stewart at the moment, because he's still in, at least until Trevor Crow runs.
So the car's back on its wheels again now.
That's the right way now. The car's just the right way. It's broadening again.
Both driver and co-driver are okay. That's the main thing. The car is not substantially damaged. A bit of a ding in the roof. And I would imagine they'll get it down to the bottom before too terribly long and get the track clear. Well, that's bad luck for Kim Austin, and obviously he's out, but it, in a funny sort of way, is very good luck for Trevor Crow, because he's the last to run and he only has to beat 1915. Malcolm Stewart made a mistake and came down at 1915. So really it's very simple for Trevor Crow. Having only to beat 19, he knows he's well capable of doing that without pushing himself or the car or taking any silly risks. He's normally a good man under pressure, and he will have sussed out exactly what he needs, because Neil Allport's done 1:6.31. He's definitely one finalist, and Trevor Crow looks like being the other if he can beat 1915, which is Malcolm Stewart's time.
Well, just looking at Trevor Crow coming up now, he's certainly not taking it easily. He's driving it as hard as he can. And 40.4 to the top corner.
That's the fourth fastest time of the day to the top corner.
Trevor Crow very, very quick down the hill.
And with a time of 40 to the top, he's well and truly inside 1:7.
So I imagine also, Tony, that Trevor Crow will be trying to put pressure on Neil Allport by posting a really quick time this time, and then sending Neil off first up the hill next time.
So a very costly mistake for Malcolm Stewart in the Audi Quattro, only posting 1915. That left Neil Allport at 1:6.31, a definite qualifier for the final. And then Trevor Crow came down and has now put all the pressure on Neil Allport with a 1:5.09. And so to round 6, which of course is the final. Trevor Crow. And so to round 6, which of course is the final. That's Neil Allport lined up on the line. Trevor Crow was the fastest qualifier, and as such he gets the choice of going first or second. He has opted to let Neil Allport go up and try and beat his time, rather than go up himself and let Neil Allport beat his time. Allport last time with a 1.631, and we already know that Trevor Crow can do 5.09.
Yes, Neil got a bit untidy back there, Tony. He might have just lost a second or two.
He's the 1983 winner of this event.
Neil's previous split at the top was 40.83.
41.52, so he had lost time. It doesn't really matter what he's posted before or what he posts in split times before. It's all irrelevant because it only depends on this round. It is simply a case of Neil Allport posting a time and Trevor Crow trying to beat it. 1.674.
Yes, well, that time's good enough to keep Trevor Crow honest in the final.
As we've already seen from the last run-up, Trevor Crow's capable of better than that. Can he do it now, is the question. As is always the case in rally sprints, it comes down to whether or not the driver can respond and hang it all together now, at the time that it matters. Anything he's done previously is irrelevant. Trevor Crow knows he's capable of a better time, but he knows he can't put a foot wrong in doing it. I'm going to be intrigued to see now if he can get to the top in under 40 seconds.
Yes, that's what we'll want to see. It will also be interesting to see if he can bowl over Reg Cook's course record of 1 minute 4.96.
Be very surprised if that goes, but if anybody's going to do it, I think Trevor Crow will today. Now, Trevor Crow will know when he gets to the top what his split time is, just as quickly as we will. The co-driver will have a stopwatch there and give him a split time. 42.5. And a good exit. He's on target for 1.5. He may even get in the low 1.5s. I think he's going to beat 1.674.
He could be on target for a course record.
There will be no more surprised person than Trevor Crow himself if he wins this event. He did not expect to get past the round of 8. 1.472, new course record. 1.472 for Trevor Crow. The Christchurch circuit driver has just broken Reg Cook's circuit record of 1.49.